time to get your fix. Come on down, get your horrible gaming review. 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 Wow.
Hello, my name is Zach Rye with Old Man Gaming. Welcome to another horrible game review. A few disclaimers before we get started, as usual. The word horrible in the title of this video does not refer to the game or DLC that I am reviewing necessarily, but much more the review itself. I do snap judgment reviews here. I get about 5 to 10 hours with a game. I'm just trying to give you an idea right off the bat whether you're going to enjoy it or not. That, coupled with the fact that I think video games is one of the most subjective forms of art, I don't give scored reviews. Instead, I'll tell you an overview of what the game is. I'll give you the pros and the cons of the game, in my point of view, as all reviews are. And then I'll tell you whether I personally will be sticking with it or not. I got one extra disclaimer, too. Sorry for the huge amount, but I am reviewing WWE 2K23. Now, this game is huge. It's massive. There's so many ways to play it, so many things to do in it. So for this review, I played 10 hours, but I played 10 hours just of the GM mode and in the creation suites. So your created character and your creative videos. So I'm going to be reviewing those specifically. I have not tried universe mode. I will come back and do another review for that whenever I get around to the universe mode. And I don't play these games. I love them very much because they're basically simulators and I can make my own wrestling show and then watch that wrestling show unfold. So I don't even know the buttons for these games. I have no intention of playing it. If I do change my mind on that, I will also do a review for that at some point in the future. But for today, we are just reviewing the My GM mode and the creation suites of WWE 2K23. So overview, what is it? Well, like I said, the game is huge, but My GM mode specifically is all about you taking the reins of a GM for a brand within WWE, a show. You do all the booking and major decisions for that show, and you are pitted against other shows' bookers. This takes place through a number of weeks. This time around, this mode came back in 22. But a lot of people said there was too bare bones, it was too bland, and honestly, overall, I'm inclined to agree with them. I think, however, the GM mode from 22 was good. It was a good foundation. There just wasn't enough there to build. There was a lot to build on, but not enough to actually play with in 22. They built on it in this one, and we're going to get into that. So overall, you book the show out, and they have added a ton of matches to it. Singles, tag teams, triple threats, fatal fours. They added steel cages, last man standings, falls count anywhere. And while all the stipulations that the game offers is not in GM mode by a long shot, there is a ton more variation here. Power cards make their return. Each week you will have an offer of 3 different power cards that you can purchase. Those power cards can be played on opponents to take out certain situations or make it harder for them. It can also be used on you to make your life a little bit easier. You also get power cards still for doing commissioner goals. Every week Triple H presents a task to you that you can do or not do, and if you do it, he'll give you an extra card. At the beginning of the game of GM mode, you'll pick a GM, so to speak, and that GM gets a special power card just to them, a very powerful one. Then you pick a brand, also same thing, special power card just for that brand. Then you do a draft, and then you start booking against each other. Each match is based on a number of stars, 1 through 5, but you want some matches to do slightly worse than others. You want this kind of drama curve. To get that, you'll place faces against heels. You'll place class-based characters against each other. Yes, the class system is back from before. If you didn't play the first one, basically every character fits into one of these 5 classes, and fighters match up with bruisers or specialists. Giants and cruisers match up with each other or specialists. So you have to kind of plan that for your roster accordingly, which we'll talk about a little bit in the pros and cons, because a lot of people wanted that to change. That being said, like I said, you then book, you go through a show, you can spectate most everything. I don't think you can spectate backstage brawls. I honestly haven't had enough money to actually pull one off yet, so I don't know. And then there are promos that allow you to do certain things. You'll slowly build rivalries, which help you get better matches. And something else they added this year is the superstar rating. Your character's superstar rating will go up as they get involved in more big things, and their superstar rating can actually carry them through even when the classes don't match up. I think this was kind of a lukewarm, loose answer to the everybody hating this class system from last year, but it doesn't do a whole lot. I have definitely had matches where people don't match up where I can do okay in it, though. You work towards a pay-per-view, and you have 25 weeks, with the pay-per-views, or PLEs in this, premium live events, counting as a whole week by themselves. So that's 5 pay-per-views total, 4 normal shows in between each one of those. So 25 total weeks. Now, once you're done with each pay-per-view, it just starts. The idea behind everything is the last show is always WrestleMania, and then you go into another one. Now, I've got to be completely honest. I haven't managed in 10 hours to get through my first GM mode. I'm in the 3rd pay-per-view. I'm about halfway through. So I don't know what that looks like, which could bring more pros and cons. But again, this is a snap judgment review, so I do a snap judgment. This is fun. I really enjoy this. Especially if you liked a 2K22, but you didn't think there was enough there, they have added enough to keep you invested. They've also added the addition of the triple threats and fatal fours makes things very interesting. Of course, you can also book legends and put them into dream match situations, which is a lot of fun as well. That's basically the mode. Let's talk about the creation suite a little bit. I'm not going to go too into the creation suite because it's basically the creation suite from everything. The thing that I want to say is, stuff that I want to say about it is mostly in pros and cons, but you can create your own wrestler. It looks very similar to the creation suite from last year. They've just done some like quality of life changes to it, added some more stuff in there, more features to make it a little bit more palatable, and that's nice. Then the video editor, of course, is the same as always, which is the same as last year, which everybody can remember that from then. So let's go ahead and get into the pros and cons, because I've got a lot, and I think this is going to be the meat and potatoes of this review. I like to start positive as always, so pros. Match types. The addition of all the match types and the variation have really opened up GM mode to be a lot more fun. Sure, you can't do war games. Sure, you can't do anything above a fatal 4-way. No 5 ways or 6 ways. Nonetheless, it really allows you the ability to book an entire roster and have a big roster without having half of it sit literally every show. There's a big problem with last one is you get 4 shows to book for on the normal shows, and then you get 5 spots to book for the pay-per-views. If they're one-on-one, that's either 8 people or 10 people. I mean, if I've got a roster of 15 people, you see the problem there. A lot of people get left out. A lot of people, don't get the popularity boost. You can't do anything with. With this, really allows you to maximize your roster usage, which is really, really nice. I can't count the number of times I've had a rivalry with 2 people, and then I've had another person who's popular, and I just stick them into a triple threat with those 2 people to keep that rivalry going while also getting that other person some popularity and getting them some reps. It's nice. It's a really nice addition to the game. Plus, you have all these variations on the matches and the match stuff, and that's going to dovetail right into my next pro, which is the information they hand to you. One of the biggest problems I had with 2K22's My GM mode is the information they gave you was very limited. You kind of had to guess your way through things. Like the match types. Here's this match, this tables match. All it would say is it requires low stamina and it costs this much. It didn't really give you any special, like, this does this or it does this. With this, when you scroll onto a match type, it specifically tells you what that match does, like what it does quality-wise throughout it. They also added a submission match, which allows you, thank God, to end rivalries midstream, like without having it at a pay-per-view, because that's one thing about this game is the rivalries, as you build them, you have to get them to a 3 or 4 and then have them actually do a match at a pay-per-view, and that resolves the rivalry. Whereas now you could just do a submission match anytime and you resolve the rivalry, which is really, really nice, so you're not stuck in these rivalries long term. They have all sorts of other specials like that. Steel Cage, all of them do something kind of special with it. Plus, they really branched out what you could do with the tag team matches. And then, of course, the Triple Threat and Fatal 4-Ways have a lot of these effects as well, which is just awesome. Can't tell you how awesome this info is. But we're going to go ahead and say even more, because now in the match wrap-up, when you scroll over one of the matches, you can actually hit match details, and instead of in 2022, where it kind of gave you an overview of what the match looked like without necessarily telling you any facts, this gives you a star breakdown. Here's where you earned your stars. Here's the chemistry, the match typing, whether a title was on the line, all of that. It just tells you right off the bat where you got your stars from, which is just awesome. It's so much better to have that information at your fingertips so you can kind of get a feel of knowing what you're doing a little bit better. And that's something that I love about this. And that's something that I love even over the old 2007 one that everybody loves. 2007 only ever told you, your rivalry level and whether people liked it or not. Everything else was a guessing game. I like that this isn't a guessing game. I mean, I still want a little guesswork, but at the same time, I like the breakdown of the information so that I can learn from my mistakes and become a better GM. My next pro goes into actual gameplay a little bit. The stamina system is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if it's phenomenal for play. I know that you could switch it back to the 2K22 stuff, but they added this stamina system where the wrestlers actually get more tired as the match goes on. This is pivotal for things like Triple Threats and Fatal 4-Ways. I only ever watch matches, like I told you. I used to be a content creator exclusively making my wrestling leagues through 2K whatever. Triple Threats and Fatal 4-Ways could go 2 seconds, or they could go 2.5 hours because people just keep knocking each other off. Nobody ever stays down long enough. With the stamina system, it really allows for these big openings where people can get pinned, people can get taken out. It also helps the tag matches drastically because that suffered from the same problem. Anything with multiple people in it is really helped by that. Plus, it makes the matches look more like matches. I'm not saying they didn't look good in 22. I liked 22. I liked watching the matches in 22. But there was this frenetic thing about it where everybody was constantly moving all the time. And that's just not how it is in a wrestling match. There's huge downs. There's huge periods where people are just both down and the crowd is getting sucked into the drama of it all. And this better simulates that with the stamina system that I truly enjoy. Plus, they actually get more sweaty as the match goes on. If you watch, they'll start off, your normal wrestler. I doused myself in water before I came out of here fair. But by the end of the match, they're literally drenched in sweat is getting flung off them every time they're struck. You can also see bruises and welts start to form around places where they've been hit a lot, like the abdomen or chest or face. I love this stuff. It really gets you in it. It draws you in it. It makes you feel like you've booked your dream match instead of watching kind of like a cheesy simulator in some way. Sorry for that notification, everybody. That takes me into my last pro, which is the load times. I know what you're thinking. With this kind of performance, the load times must have gone up, and they were already god-awful. No, load times have gone way down, way down. So happy about that. While I am playing on a PC, I played on a PC before with 2K22. Load times were terrible in both the creation suite and anytime you wanted to watch a match, especially if you had a created character or just a no-nonsense character. It would take forever. With this, there is a load time, but it's relatively quick, and then you're in the match. Same with when you're in a creation suite. There used to be a 30-second to 1-minute delay every time you switched from one cutscene to another just to preview it. Now, I can tell you that that's down to 5 to 15 seconds. Still a long wait, but nowhere near the eternity we had to deal with before. If you wanted to go through every cutscene to try and find the one you wanted, you were there for an hour. And I know this because I used to create content with that promo suite simulator, which was hard. So the load times have gotten way better. They've just become more efficient on this game as a whole. Sorry about all these notifications. My phone has just decided to go crazy while I'm recording. All right, that takes us into the cons, and I'm going to dovetail right into my biggest con. I worked on this for an hour. I was in the video creator. There's no way to preview a full movie. I don't know why. I cannot find any place to do that. I've pressed all the buttons. I don't know what it takes to do that, so I created a whole movie, and then I wanted to preview it so I could rip it to my computer for something else. This is something content creators do regularly. We capture the promo that we created in the WWE 2K23, and then we use it and put sound under it to make promos and stuff. I used to do that for OMGW. There are a number of other content creators for WWE that use this tactic. It makes everything feel better and look nicer. There's no way to preview it though, guys. If you can't full screen preview the video, there's no way to pull it other than this really janky way I did it by kind of cutting the window down and stretching the window, which didn't make it look as good as it should have. This is a huge oversight. There needs to be a full screen preview in the video editor. Now I'm going to talk about another oversight. I'm going to go right into that. And that is in the GM mode. Inexplicably, it is impossible to make triple threats and fatal four-ways championship matches. I do not understand why. Why? There's an option there too. Like when you pick a triple threat, there's a little option that says title match off. But when you try to scroll to it, it just scrolls past it automatically. So I almost feel like this is a bug or glitch. I was kind of hoping it would be patched out before I had to do this review, but it's not. So I've got to put it in here. We need that. We need that back in this. I want to be able to have... we don't have to have triple threat rivalries, but have a rivalry resolve in a triple threat with another person involved. Like, that would be really great for storytelling, content creation, for my own personal fun. Like, we need that in here. And while triple threats and fatal four-ways make the game a lot better at the managing matches and rosters and that sort of thing, we need to be able to change titles in them, man. Like, we just have to. Like, that has to be a fix. Please. WWE 2K23. Anybody who works there, I doubt you're going to watch this, but if you do, please fix that. Alright, so my next couple of things are a little bit nitpicky, but I still kind of feel like they're worth mentioning. Like I said, I really like this mode. But you can't watch CPU matches at all, and I don't understand the logic behind that. So when you're in GM mode and you confirm booking, you get your show, and then everything that you can watch gives you a spectate option, and you can watch it or whatever. And then once you're done with your show, it switches to the same screen for one of your CPU opponents, but it only gives you the simulate option for every match. Why? What if I want to watch that? Like, what if I want to watch those matches? I don't understand why I can't, especially since if I'm playing with another human, I can watch all of his matches too. So it's not like the game can't load more than one venue at a time. I don't understand the problem here. Just flip a switch. Make it so that we can watch those matches. Like, what would be the harm in that? Why is that not there just automatically? I don't understand the logic behind that. Again, super nitpicky. I don't see a lot of GM mode content creators out there spectating matches anyway, so I doubt that they would want to spectate CPU matches, but I actually do like to spectate the matches. I like to spectate the CPU stuff, so I would like that turned on. So please fix that. My next couple of nitpicks are just things that probably we're going to see in 2K24 or 2K25, as long as GM mode stays around, but that is no created shows, and your created wrestler is stuck with one card again. I would love it if your created wrestler, when you created the wrestler, one of the options was what card does he use in GM mode if you make him a GM, so that, like, you can have a little variation with it. The way it stands right now, you get one card. It makes the next legend purchase free, which is fine. I'm not upset about that, but I would love it if I could just... You've added like 8... You added 4 more GMs, so we've got like a total of 8 other GMs. Instead of giving us that dinky card that every created character uses, allow us at character creation, just put it in the personal information. What card does he use as a GM? And just let us pick from one of the 8s. I would like that a whole lot better than the way it is now. And I really want created shows. Give us created shows in GM mode. As it stands, you can definitely create a show. There's a creation suite for it. Make your own arena and everything. That's awesome. Allow us to then import that show into GM mode and allow us to do the same thing I just said. Make a little option where we could pick a card for that show. God, that would be cool. That'd be absolutely sweet if I could make my own show, like, compete against Raw, SmackDown, NXT, WCW. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal, and I hope they add that at some point in the future. As far as whether or not I'm going to stick with it, you know I am. I love these games because I could just simulate wrestling, and I love wrestling, but I could simulate my own dream matches, and GM mode gives stakes to that you don't even really get in universe mode, which is awesome. I do love to play universe mode. I usually don't play it until I have about 20 or 30 created characters, and then I make my own show in universe mode, basically, which probably will at some point in the future, and that's when I'll review it, but for GM mode, it gives you stakes to the thing that you're doing, this booking, and I love that. I love that I could book it, watch it, and there's like a game going on within a game. So I will definitely continue with GM mode. I'm definitely going to continue creating characters because I'm an absolute lunatic with that, and anybody who knows me knows that I am. As far as a part 2 to this review, I have to dive into universe mode, and I have to play that for 5 to 10 hours to really have an idea of what that is. If I get to that, I will definitely do a review for it and post it here. As usual, you guys can contact us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord, links in the description below. You can tell me how wrong or right I got it. I'm totally open to suggestions. But as long as you do keep watching and listening, I will keep making them, and I'll see you on the next one.